Hey guys, Terry here. I wanted to give you my updated tour of my craft room. I've made some changes. This is the third level of our house. I call it a tree house. It's got a cabin look and feel to it. It's all cedar. It was built in the early 80s. We love it. This is my craft room over here. But what has happened lately is I have spread into the master bedroom. So I decided to set up a bigger sewing area. So I have moved these Ikea cabinets over to this wall. And I think what I'll do is give you a scan around the room, and then I'll show you some good storage ideas that I've learned. I've been crafting for over 20 years, and I've picked up some things along the way, things that you start out in the beginning and then you kind of learn what works better in the end. So I love to quilt, I love to make cards, and I love to scrapbook. So I'll quickly show you my setup. I've got a lot of storage over here. I keep my scrapbook albums here. We have 3 kids. And I have my books, and then I also scrapbook my trips that I take. This is more fabric that we found from my mother-in-law's stash, so still working through selling that fabric. I'll have a link on my website to show you what's in those boxes. But this is our cabin. We love it. It's got a deck that wraps around the house. It's just beautiful this time of year. It's getting cooler out. You could sit outside. So we just love the cabin. And when we saw the cabin, I knew this was where I wanted to set up my craft area. It's got 3 large windows that looks out over the trees. So I have set up a computer area with my brother and Cricut setup. And then I have my stamps up there on the wall. That works good. And then I have a station here where I make cards and occasionally scrapbook. I'll have links to the different products that I show. I love the Ikea furniture. I love these desks from Ikea. They're pretty inexpensive and the drawers hold a lot. I've got a shelf over there that holds stamps and paper and sewing patterns. I've got 3 Razcogs. Love to use those. They're on wheels. You can bring them to where you're working. There's another Ikea cabinet. Has books, empty albums, and some more paper. On top I've got a die cutting area. And then here's the start of the sewing area. I've got a sewing table. A big aught light there. I also have track lighting. Steve installed the track lighting and I love that. And then these are the 2 new items that I got. These are the Alex Drawers with casters. So my plan is to put another long table over top of that that'll have legs. And these on casters work really great because I'll be able to pull these out, and I can either position them beside my sewing area. So the idea is that I would have a cutting area, an ironing area, and then when I pull them out from under the table will be where I can have my quilt laid out on top to be working on the pieces. So I think it's going to be a really good craft sewing area in my craft room. So that's kind of a quick tour of the room. And then let me give you a few tips about how I use the drawers and the shelving. I'll also point out over here I have 2 of the CD shelves that the Stampin' Up! Stamps fit perfectly in. So I love those for storing my stamps. So let me show you more specifics. Okay, for stamps, I'm using these CD towers. The Stampin' Up! Cases are the same size as a DVD case, and I store the stamps and the dies together. If there's a, let me find one, this one here. If there's a coordinating die set, I have the dies inside the case, so those are stored together. And these towers work great. I have a couple of plastic bins here. The Close to My Heart stamps are in these square packets. And then I've got other stamps that I just put inside those Avery L envelopes. And then I should label those. I've kind of moved them around, but I had them by topic, thank you cards, happy birthday, flowers. And I need to reorganize those. But yeah, that works great for stamps. For my card making area, I like to keep the common tools that I use right at my fingertips on my desk. So I've got some alcohol markers, I've got paper that's ready to go for card fronts, and then I've got my tools in here. This has my scissors and other different tools that I use. I've got a Ranger glass mat that I use to work on. It keeps the desktop protected. I've got my guillotine cutter. And then in the drawers, I keep stuff that's handy to use for card making. So I've got my Score Pal. The large one fits perfectly inside here. And then I've got a T-square, press and seal. I've got a drawer full of embossing powders and inks. And these drawers are about 3 inches deep. The top ones, if you notice, the top 2 are a little bit more shallow than the bottom 3. The bottom 3 are tall enough to, I think it's 5.5 inches tall they are. And I've got my Misty, my stamp cleaner, clipboard, embossing powder, heat gun. I've got ink refills in here. I use those less often. I've also got the waffle, oh, what's it called? I forget the name of the company. Waffle Flower stamping mat. I just got that rolled up there. So items that I use less often, I keep lower in the cabinet. Here's a drawer of paints. Those Ikea little buckets fit perfectly down in here, so I can just pull the whole bucket out when I'm going to paint. I'll just mention too that you can set up the tables with legs, or you can have the drawers. The Alex drawers are the perfect height for table height, so that works well. This is the medium-sized desk. So I didn't think there was enough room to put 2 of these here, so I did the legs and the drawers. This longer one, I think it's over 72 inches long. And now this one you could fit, more than one of the Alex drawers. And then I just happen to have this project bin that's on wheels. I can pull that out. And there's enough room between here and the desk that I have my Cricut and Brother scan and cut mats. So that works good there. The Razcogs, I'll say my Razcogs need reorganized because I've got cardstock that I use for card making, embossing envelopes. I'm not happy with these here. I want to have them over by my die cutter. And then I've got pads of paper down here. The 6x6 pads. That Razcog is new, so it's just kind of holding some stuff temporarily. And then this one is more of a sewing Razcog. I've got patterns down here. I've got my Cricut Easy Press and a small iron, and then sewing tools up here. I love the shelf for these paper holders. People always ask what's the best way to store cardstock, the 12 by 12 size. I've got those bins to hold the paper, the 12 by 12 size paper, and I like storing it vertically because then you can flip through it and pull out what you want. So I've got my solid cardstock there, and then I've got my pattern cardstock down there by themes. And I've got them labeled by topics that I use, the seasons, birthdays, trips, house stuff, kids. So love having the paper that way. It's also, I don't collect anymore. If I get more paper, I clean out some of that so that I don't outgrow those shelves. That's my container that I'm trying to limit the paper to. So I don't buy those paper pads anymore. I'm just trying to use up, you know, what I have in that stash. Up on top, I've got some more boxes that I have stamps in. There you can see the categories: holiday, thank you, and birthday. Those are not Stampin' Up! Or close to my heart. Those are different brands, and I have them in the Avery L envelopes. So that works good for that. This is my die cutting station. I like to keep my dies inside this. It's a greeting card container. It comes with the dividers. And then I'm using the magnets that came in my, I think there's an iris bin that holds the dies. If you've seen that, looks like a little lunch pail. So I started with it and then I quickly outgrew it. So my dies fit in here. It's pretty heavy, but I really don't move it anywhere. If I go to a crop, I take just small dies for card making. And I've got those stored here in a little tin. And I use my little sidekick for that. I've got the larger Big Shot Plus. It's 9 inches wide instead of the 6 inches. And I have that because I have a few large dies. So again, I don't take that traveling with me. It's pretty heavy. It's not electronic, but it still works. Like I said, I've got albums that I haven't used yet, idea books, which I probably need to go through. I like to take the pages out of the catalogs for the stamp sets that I bought and fold them and put them in that stamp box so that I have the ideas with the stamp set, and then I can toss those old catalogs. So I've got my sewing stand. And then I love these new Alex drawers. These are the wide ones, and they're on casters. Again, the top 3 are more narrow, and then the bottom ones are thicker, deeper. And then I want to show you a hack that I learned about for the 2 bottom drawers. So what I did on both cabinets was, if you leave, when you're assembling it, if you leave the bottom out of this drawer, then you've got a tall area. So what I found was, for these spools of thread that go in the serger, they're just tall enough that you can't shut the drawer. So if you keep the bottom out, keep the bottom out of this drawer and just put the bottom in this drawer, then what you do, and I haven't done this yet because I just assembled these, but I'm going to attach a piece of wood on this side and over on this side. I'm going to screw a piece of wood to both drawers so that when you pull this, both drawers just move together. So I just love that hack because both on this side and on this one, like I said, I need to attach them. but they are going to hold stuff that's taller than the normal height of that. So that works well. And then I've got paperwork in this drawer. So the Alex drawers come either in the 5 drawers that are more narrow, and then there's this unit that has 3 small drawers and then a file cabinet drawer. And I like that one because then that's just my paperwork. So that fits there good. What else can I show you? I've got the shelves on the wall just for rainbow color looking. Inks. I had my inks in my Razcog for the longest time, and then I found that container, I think at Hobby Lobby. It's really cute. It's made for more of like a centerpiece, and I have it hanging on the wall. And then I have a black shelf back in here that's made out of plastic, and I've got stuff that's just extra storage back in there. I store my cropping bag back in there. But yeah, that's most of the things that I have. Let me show you the large Ikea Alex units over there, because they're perfect size for scrapbookers. So I love Create a Memory albums, but most scrapbook albums, like for example, this is a Project Life one, they're 12 by 12. They fit perfectly inside these Alex units. They're 13 inches deep and 13 inches tall in the opening, and they just fit the albums wonderfully. So I love that. If you turn it on its side, it's got all this room on top to store items. And then it's got various baskets. Ikea has various baskets and stuff that fit inside the openings. So here's some basket weave ones, and then down below here I've got the cardboard ones. They're pretty inexpensive. And then there's also drawers that they make, and there's also doors. I like the drawers because they hold a ton. There's 2 drawers in the piece that comes together, and this is just sitting inside the square. I don't have them attached. I don't have them screwed together because I do move the drawers. Something you'll want to keep in mind is have the drawers at up at eye level so that you can see down into the drawers. You don't want to put them up too high that you can't see what you've got down inside them. So I've got washi tape and ribbon, brads and buttons, embellishments, and then the drawers come in all different colors too. So those work well. I've got them standing up. I think you can stack them too. They also have a unit that is just 1 by 4 size, so that's nice for a small area. They also make a unit that is this is all 1 unit. This is actually 2 of the 8 squares. I always recommend to people to get the smaller ones, not that great big one. If you ever have to move, these ones just move, and you can rearrange and turn them on their side, and it's just a lot more flexible to get the smaller ones than that great big giant one. So let me know down in the area, in the questions, if you have any, down in the comment area if you have any questions. And I'll help you with storage ideas. And I'll have links to the products that I mentioned. And I hope you enjoyed this tour. Thanks, guys.